We're making homemade harissa today in the Chili Pepper Madness kitchen, my friends. If you guys are spicy food lovers like I am, this is a recipe you absolutely need in your recipe box. I use it all the time. It's used in so many cuisines like African, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, and it's such a great flavor base. So let me show you how to make mine. So there are different ways that you can make harissa paste. You can use dried pods, fresh pods, or a combination of. Today I'm focusing on a dried pod version, which is a much more common version. But you can use different dried peppers for this, but I have a bunch of Mexican pods that I'm using. I have ancho peppers, I have 6 anchos, 6 guajillo peppers, 3 pasilla peppers, and I'm throwing in some chile de arbol, which are spicy for myself, but you can omit those if you want, just kind of a milder version, but go spicy if you want to. But you can also use other peppers, like New Mexican chilies are great for this. But the first step you want to do is get your dried pods ready, and you'll want to de-seed them and remove the stems. So the stems just pop right off, very easy. And you can shake out the seeds usually, but if you have a hard time, just kind of, tear open the pepper, kind of squeeze it open a bit, and you start pulling out the seeds. But if you have a hard time and they're not opening properly, a pair of kitchen scissors, just kind of slice them open a bit. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, they're flying. Seeds are flying. And you don't have to get every single seed. The reason you remove the seeds is because they can be bitter and they float around in your sauce. So, but you don't have to. You can leave them in if you want. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the seeds and stems, and then we're going to toast the peppers. Seriously, look at all these seeds, guys. Lots of them. All right, I've got all my peppers stemmed and de-seeded. So the next step you want to do is to lightly toast your peppers. So I have a pan heated up here to a good medium heat, and I'm just going to add all the peppers to a dry pan. We're going to dry toast. And you can do them in batches if you want to. I'll just kind of stir them up here. You just want to do a light toasting on them for just maybe a minute or 2 per side or so until they kind of puff up. And you can kind of see them change color a little bit, and you can start to smell it. The main thing is you don't want to burn them because then they become more bitter that way. But just a real light toasting. You can skip this step actually and just move right on to the hydrating phase. But I always encourage people to lightly toast their peppers. When you toast them, it loosens up the oils in the skin and adds just that much more depth of flavor to your overall recipe, especially harissa. So this is a step that I highly encourage. All right, peppers are lightly toasted, so go ahead and add them to a bowl, like so. All right, I got all these in a bowl, and the next step is I'm gonna pour some very hot water over the peppers, and we're gonna rehydrate them up. So let me get the water. Just enough to cover them. All right, we're gonna soak these peppers for about 20 minutes or so until they become very soft. So I still have my pan nice and hot, so the next thing we're gonna do is toast some seeds, and I have a ½ teaspoon of caraway seeds into the dry pan, and a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander seeds, and a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin seeds. So for this, you only wanna do a real light toasting on these for maybe 30 seconds to a minute until you can kind of smell it. You can smell it pretty quickly. You don't want to burn this either because it'll get bitter. But next you want to get them over to a spice grinder or into a bowl so we can grind them up. So let me move these over into my mortar here. All right, get all of my lightly toasted seeds moved into my bowl here. Set this aside. And you're just going to grind it up like so, very easy. And again, you can use a spice grinder for this, or just however you can easily grind it. But a spice grinder is great, but I love my little mortar and pestle here. Works outstanding. And all right, now that it's nicely ground, I'm going to set this aside, and we will continue. All right, these peppers need a little bit more time to soften, and I've got all my other ingredients ready. The thing about harissa that makes it so amazing is its depth of earthy flavor. And since there are so many different ways to make it, but there's so many different ways that you can use it, it's a beautiful flavor builder for like soups and stews. You can swirl it into soups and stews, build lots of flavor. You can use it as a sauce. You can add a little bit of liquid to it, and it becomes a beautiful sauce. You can use it as a rub for different meats, for grilling. Fish, it's great with fish. And it's just super versatile. It's one of those base ingredients you like to have on hand for so many different uses. All right, I've got the peppers all nicely softened up, so I'm gonna go ahead and drain. Drained here. Don't need to save that water. Some recipes you will, but not today. All right, get that drained. All right, into the food processor. Got a food processor set up here. And I have my toasted ground seasonings into the food processor. And I have about a teaspoon plus of salt. And I have here about 6 cloves of garlic, fresh garlic. And you can use more gorgeous garlic, of course. You know, it's really to taste. And juice from 1 lemon. And at this point, you could actually be done with your homemade harissa. But again, this recipe really varies from region to region and really from cook to cook. There are so many ways you can make it. You can throw in fresh herbs at this point. Mint is very popular, other seasonings, and just process away. But 2 ingredients that I love to add to mine as a personal preference. One is, here I have a roasted red bell pepper. And to me, that adds a lot of additional flavor and just kind of an overall depth of deliciousness. And also tomato paste. I love tomato with mine. Some cooks love it, some just don't want to add it. You can add it with your typical recipe. But just go ahead and add your tomato paste to the food processor. Get it all in there. Ooh, don't waste it. And let's go ahead and process it. It's going to process into a paste. Here we go. All right, look at that. Yes, nice and thick. Ooh, looking good here. So the next step is to add some olive oil. So I'm gonna put this back on and get the processor going. And you're gonna add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You can do a little more if you want to. And it's gonna help thicken it up even more. So, while it's processing. Oh yeah, look at that. Smells delicious. All right, we're getting there. All right, one more step. So this is an optional step, my friends, but you can strain your harissa. Straining it will give you a smoother sauce, and it'll also help remove any of those leftover hard bits that didn't get processed. If you have a good enough food processor, a lot of times you don't really need to strain it, but it will help remove any of those bits. So let's get it into my food mill here. All right. All right, here we go, nice and smooth. Got a lot of harissa here, my friends. Look at that, doesn't it look good? Wow, nice and thick. Boom. Hey, if you guys are looking for another great flavor base, check out my sofrito recipe. That is used in a lot of different recipes. Beautiful flavor builder. It's a great way to make lots of delicious soups, stews, and so many other things. So, hey, I hope you like this recipe as much as I do. Leave your comments below. Let me know how you change it up and make it your own. I'm always excited to hear what you guys do with this kind of stuff. So, hey, Mike from Chili Pepper Madness. Hope to see you in the kitchen next time. See ya. Bye. All right, let's give it a taste. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Homemade harissa. Essential. You need this recipe.